I'm recording too.
Are in place.
It's recording.
It is recording.
Y'all gonna have to chop this down. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's no problem.
I'd rather be
safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Always.
I'd rather have too much than too little.
My granddad grew up with me saying an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So there you go.
Can you grab me a Pepsi?
Can I grab you a Pepsi?
I just want to get in the
Can you grab me a Pepsi?
I got you.
Only if you drink it like Jessica Simpson and
testing 1 2 testing 1 2 test ABC
DEFG
HI
BC.
Oh,
D.
E. You and your mom and your sister and your car.
I was singing the Patty. I was singing the Patty.
I was saying, he was singing the Patty LaBelle version from Sesame Street.
I know.
Okay. I'll probably do something this week.
W X Y and Z. I think it from beginning to end. Oh yes, I did. So you know what Miss Patty's gonna do? She's gonna do it again.
Are y'all just ready? Sharon, are you recording?
Yes, ma'am. I've been recording this entire time.
Word.
hell yeah. Off to my corner.
Woo.
Ooh, corner. And 5. We're live in 5,
What iCarly episode is
4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back
to another episode of Blerd Survival Guide. Hey, it's another week, another fabulous recording with our fabulous guest who's returned, Miss Sharon Cocx. Sharon,
What's up, Sharon?
how are you?
Thank
How are you?
I am doing much better. I was sick this past week, but I am getting better and
Yes.
incorporated into the world tomorrow.
Did you have that Omarion variant?
I don't know what variant I had, but I had a variant.
Oh, well, there you go. It was one of them. Yeah, it was one of them. Yeah.
Well, we're happy to
It's
know
crazy
that-
how you tried to get away from this for 3 years and you're like really good and you don't get it, and then boom, out of the blue you get it.
That's
And
bullshit.
Yeah.
That's the bullshit. And I think the other day we were talking and you said that there's like so much shame even associated with it because you're just,
yeah, oh no, yeah, absolutely. And you know, as I'm getting better, my husband is feeling bad, so I'm like, and he's a nurse, so like he's in charge of people with MS.
Oh no.
And so like
wow.
in my mind, it's like somehow I feel like I know it's not my fault. You do everything
Right.
that you can to not get it, and then in one little moment you get it. So I know it's not my fault, but it just feels so much remorse because now I infected him and he says he's gonna have to go into quarantine, and now we have to be careful I don't get it again. And his
Right.
patients, you know, like we're worried about so many people around us more than just us, but yeah, the guilt that comes with it is
I mean,
tremendous, for
it's
sure.
that bullshit because like we're in a state that's like, what is it like in the lowest of vaccination rates? Like that's the
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like, you can't even do anything to really try to avoid it, except for like the minimal things, and they say that's barely working now.
And I'm vaccinated and boosted, and somehow I still got it. Symptoms were not as bad, and that is literally what the vaccine will do, people. It will save your lives, so take it. So I definitely feel blessed that I didn't get, you know, as bad as some other people have. So, but yeah, I think I might have had that Omarion, whatever his name is.
Whatever his name is.
Because I did not lose my taste or my smell, so that was good.
That's good.
Well, thank God
Yeah.
for the
The boosters
vaccinations,
and
so you can be
yeah.
here to talk to us today.
Yeah.
I'm happy to
To
bring it
talk
back to the
about
studio.
Bruno.
Yes, we are finally talking about Bruno. That's what we've been. Last week we discussed the real life Encanto with your family and the impact that it had with you and everyone else who watched it. And now we're gonna actually get into the movie, the nitty gritty, and get under the surface pressure as Louis
Let's
wants to
do
do.
it.
Yeah, so let's
Let's
get
go.
into
Let's
it.
go scene by scene. How about that?
Oh,
I like it.
Yeah, from the get go, from the top, we got the family Madrigal. Let's go from
I
there.
mean, like they came in hot with the bop, bro. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and I'll be honest. The first time I watched Encanto, I wasn't sold. I was not sold. But like the more and more I have watched this movie, it just like that first song, it just gets you ready for the entire.
What were you not sold on?
I'm gonna.
I'm simply asking the
He
question.
said, I don't want to get canceled, so I'm just going to tell you that I was not
Right,
sold.
that I was just not sold.
But now I love it.
For me, it boils down to like the immediate recognition of a Lin-Manuel Miranda song.
Okay, so it kind of put you out of it for a second. I get that.
Well, I'm going to...
He writes great music. It's like not an unappreciation of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, just like, okay, here we go. It is like being familiarized with like his
with Lin and
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna keep
and I'm with you on that. I think when it was first announced, I had a little bit of hesitation because I was like, is this gonna be another Hamilton? Is it gonna be all rap? Is he not going to, you know, like take in consideration Colombian sounds? And the moment I heard that accordion and the moment I heard the drums and the moment I started hearing all those Colombian flavors coming through that first song that did have a little bit of a I won't call it rap, but it was a little bit more of a spoken word, like so it was actually very entertaining. It introduces you to the family in a fun way, but it also introduces you to people in town. You see all the people, how they work, how they what is the word? Convivir is the word that I'm thinking in Spanish, but how they interact with everybody in the Madrigal family. Mm-hmm. The little kid with the dynamics, yes. Mm-hmm. The little kid with the coffee, that was absolutely me, like I mentioned before.
We love him.
Completely hyper. Just tell us what everybody else can do.
And that's my
you see through this whole song how she's trying to avoid to tell them, I'm sorry, but I'm just, you know, I'm the housekeeper here. I just
basically, and that's low-key how Bella was treating her for like a good little minute of the movie. It's like, yeah, you just make
until she decided her work wasn't good enough.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah,
her candles and like cut out paper.
Yeah, but I mean that kind of leads into getting into the story about like Antonio's his magical door day and that whole celebration. We're going to see the dynamic between Antonio and Marisol. Not Marisol.
Maribel.
Yeah. I don't know why I said that, but yeah. Yeah, we did.
Isn't Marisol a character in The Heights? I think you're just good in all these.
Marisol, like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, Marisol. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's the effect of Lin-Manuel Miranda. That's what that is. He's just everywhere. But no,
you see that dynamic, but you also see Maribel's struggle in her reliving that trauma, right?
Yes.
When she has to walk the same steps she walked a couple of years ago and nothing happened.
But like you see that strong dynamic between Antonio and Maribel with like literally the one sentence that he said, it was just like,
I need you.
And like,
oh gosh,
baby.
That broke my heart.
Right, like hold my hand. I'll take you there. I'll take you up the stairs. I don't even have a power, please. But no, that whole scene was just like you see the whole trauma of like you said, of Maribel going through that re-traumatization of her not being able to get a door, because I did see a theory that what she did was like she rubbed the magic off her. Because she had touched the candle and she was the only one who wiped her hands on her dress. And then once she touched the door,
the only one we see,
I saw that TikTok.
She might just have clammy hands. Let's just call it what it is.
She was nervous.
She's the only one. Yeah, she's the only one we saw wiping her hands. I don't think that the candle had some sort of like Tinkerbell power or
I blame the glasses.
Well, I mean, she's like a third of all.
Don't blame the glasses.
Like, and they both got like.
Well, and her cousin. And Dolores.
Right, and Dolores. Like, she's the last one, like before Antonio, who like I guess comes maybe
about 10 years, about 10 years later. Yeah, they're all about 5 or 6 when they get powers.
Well, and the guy they gave her the non-special, which by the way, I wanted to punch him in the face. But he said, you know, since last ceremony was such a bummer, last ceremony being yours. And it's like,
I'm sorry.
Dang, boy.
For real, like that's how people talk to each other. Like they don't hold back. Like they'll just be as honest as possible with you.
Yeah.
They just like make sure that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Latin American culture. I will go ahead and tell you that. There's been several things, not to go back into what we talked about on the last episode, you know, about like culture and how
it's relevant.
I mean, literally, that's kind of the way that it is. It's like you give each other's nicknames that in other times or other places might be a little bit, you know, traumatic, but they're honest and to a fault actually. But you know, because I hated my nickname, and so I had a friend in high school whose nickname was El Feo, Feito, the ugly one. And that was literally his nickname. And he took it and he said, hey, my name is so and so. They call me El Feito. And I'm like, okay, cool. You're kind of cute. Why they're calling you El Feito? And then I saw his brothers and I was like, oh. It's not that he was ugly. It's not that he was ugly. It's that his brothers were like models.
So he was the ugly one of the siblings.
Correct. It doesn't have to. Yeah, it doesn't have to be that you're ugly. You're just not as pretty. Pretty.
That's rough.
Yeah. You see that, and so you see that honesty in the town as well with Maribel, and then the strength of Maribel to not like lose it, because I've lost it several times with several things in my family have said like, oh, you should start losing weight. Oh, you're looking a little round around the edges, baby. And I lost it. I remember losing it to my mom. I was like, I'm trying to do everything that I can to look right.
Right.
So, but it is that's
that
just
older generation just be letting you have it too, and like
correct.
And that's kind of like another theme within the movie, right?
Yeah.
The
whole generational
time,
differences.
We're just feeling like the weight and the pressure that Abuelita is putting on her entire family, like the entire family, from like Julieta, her children, to her grandchildren, to Peppa, and then you get to the point where it's Antonio's turn, right? And she's just like, you're gonna get a gift that's as special as you are.
You're gonna be responsible for the entire town because you're getting this gift.
You're getting a gigantic bedroom at 5, which, by the way, you have a whole Amazon jungle in your bedroom.
I'm saying, if you don't raise these children right, they're gonna be entitled. Which is a little bit of what you.
I mean, that's Isabella, because she was the favorite. She was entitled. It was like, I'm the prettiest, I'm the greatest, I am the perfect one.
You even see her
girl.
You even see her struggle.
True, but I feel like her struggle wasn't as bad as like.
It's different. It's different. It's a different struggle.
We'll get to her. We'll get to her. But no, I love the references that they do. You know, they don't only reference other Disney movies or any kind of like cultural stuff, but they also reference Doctor Who. And when the little girl, when one of the little 3 kids that were at the beginning goes in the room and she goes, it's bigger inside. It's literally what everybody says every time they go into the TARDIS. So I really like that. I really, really like that. But I love how now he has to literally look out for every single animal in the jungle. I don't know where that tiger came from. But if a tiger is running at me, I'm closing the door.
I would say the fact that everybody was just happy about this jaguar literally just running through. I'm like, oh.
No one questioned the fact that this jaguar was coming to like, toward this like very
unbothered,
small child.
Unbothered. He can talk to it. It's fine.
I understand you.
They saw him talk to the parakeet.
I can understand you.
He can understand him.
You can talk to this one bird.
No, you gotta say it with that weird accent that they gave him.
I can understand you.
I understand you.
Yeah, there was no distinction of.
It just kind of reminds me of like a Nick Jr. voice that you could just apply to any child,
any ethnic child on Nick Jr. I mean, yeah.
Oh, fun fact: one of my favorite actors does the voice of the toucan. Alan.
Oh yeah, what's his name? He does
only
he
white
does
man in the movie.
Literally, the only white guy in the movie. Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, yes. He played Hey and Moana. So basically, every animal you can think of in most recent Disney films. He was the Duke of Whistleton in Frozen, but also Duke Weaselton in Zootopia. Like those two were the same.
I forgot that there's Duke Weasel in there.
Yeah,
if you remember,
I watched it today.
Like he played Pirate Steve in Dodgeball.
What a reference! What a reference! All right. I think we've derailed a little bit. We went to Dodgeball.
Yeah, no, but like his character. I mean, he's valid. He's like the Disney Lucky Charm, just like John Ratzenberger is like the Pixar Lucky Charm.
Yep.
Yeah,
you will hear him in every movie. You may not know who it is, but you'll hear him.
It's 100% the voice of
an animal. Yeah. But all of that kind of goes into, we finally see the house starting to crack after the whole party with the whole fiesta with Antonio's new room, and then you see Maribel is seeing the house crack for the first time.
Which I didn't realize, I didn't really put it together, and Sharon, you brought it up earlier, was the house cutting her.
Yes, then, let me give you that theory. So
yes, I love this
I
theory.
think that even though she had a connection with the house, it wasn't until she was actually harmed or cut or had a closer connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
That she was able to see the house breaking. The house not actually didn't start breaking until later, but it's like the house, I don't know, like a blood pact, I guess, I don't know. But it's just one of those things where it's like when she got correct, and now she's able to see what might happen to the house.
Open that.
But it wasn't because of her power, but it was because of her connection to the house. Because there was no cracks, and it cracked in the same way that it ended up cracking later on.
Right.
So therefore, it could have been the house given a vision in a way to Maribel of this is good, this is what's going to happen.
I wonder. You just sparked something with inspiration. Abuela clearly knew that there was something wrong with the house and that their like powers were
fading.
Yeah.
Right.
What if she had seen the vision of the house cracking too, and she was just like scared by the fact that Maribel could see them, and she was like,
well, I feel like she would have treated it differently if she had seen that. I think that because her power is diminishing, she was not able to see or speak to the house as well as Maribel is able to speak with the house. Because go ahead.
No, something I noticed when we were watching it for the 5th, 6th time today,
8th, 9th, 10th,
whatever uncountable number. Oh God, I just lost my train of thought.
Well,
Sharon, what were you gonna say?
Oh, what I was gonna say is the parallels with like, stories of a leader stepping down and a new one coming in, like an American Horror Story, when you have the the Coven witches, where when the superior, when the new supreme is coming up, not superior, supreme is coming up, the other one's powers diminish. So maybe Abuela's, and just take this for for what it's worth, maybe Abuela's idea of the house losing the power wasn't the house. It was her losing the power because Maribel had come to age. So it's not, the house is losing its power. It's, I'm losing my power, therefore I won't be able to, I'm losing my power, my connection to the house without knowing, without seeing.
She felt that then micromanage everybody and like take her control or her power where she could, she
correct, but also not knowing where it's going. Also not knowing that Maribel, not seeing past Maribel and seeing, she didn't get a power, therefore she might be my predecessor. But that struggle with power, that could be it. That Abuela was just feeling the candle diminishing.
Yeah, I mean, no, that, like they said, that is a big part of the movie. And I mean, that also goes into like Maribel trying to figure out why the house is cracking, and then we finally get answers with one of our favorite songs, Surface Pressure. And like you see, like Luisa is one of the first people to actually see the house cracking, and she's actually losing her power because she's starting to feel weak and like physically feeling weak. And I'm like, the eye twitch was going in. But I mean, like I said, like we said last week on last week's episode, like her whole song, that was a bop and a half.
Oh, absolutely. She has the reggaeton. No other Disney character has ever had a reggaeton. This is the the dawn of Disney. I'm just kidding.
It might be a dawn of a new age of Disney.
Correct. Yeah, because you're creating these characters that we as millennials can connect with.
Truly.
Like I don't connect with like Snow White with the
Why would you?
like that doesn't like connect with me. But like if you have this drip drip, they don't want it. That kind of gives me a little bit of like identity. If
when your backup dancers are donkeys, I mean,
the donkeys have a fan base.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. TikTok now, there are videos. They're just clips of the donkeys dancing in that little slow.
They're my favorite.
Like that body roll, like those body rolls that they do, like
with the shoulders.
If you notice, all of the in the Coliseum, the people in the bleachers are actually all donkeys.
No.
When the camera pans out, they're all donkeys in the Coliseum.
Now I got to rewatch it for a 10th time. All right, we're gonna be fighting donkeys throughout the whole thing. And I mean, her song really does resonate with millennials. And like when I was listening to it the last time, I was just like actually listening to it, I'm like, dear Lord, like I feel it in my family personally, because between my immediate family, it's literally my mom, my sister, and myself. And me being the big guy that I am, I actually do feel like I had to like carry that family and be the rock for them in times of need and stuff like that. So it's just like, ooh, this is hitting home. That's probably why it's one of my favorite songs.
that it resonates, right? Like especially like with the bird, like if you've ever felt that burden of being the emotional and like literal physical strength of your family.
Yup.
I mean, it hits home in that way. People, you know, what pissed me off is a lot of people have been like talking about how, you know, like people will be like, it's too Latino or it's too Hispanic. And then like, they'll talk about how a lot of Lin-Manuel Miranda's music sounds the same. And like, that's like a bad thing, you know?
Why is it a bad thing?
It's a music signature. Like, you know, like when you see all these different composers, they're going to have that.
That all the hip hop music sounds the same, but the second that, you know, you get this Latino breaking into the mainstream again and like making whole soundtracks that are freaking lit, and as well as like, you know, inspirational.
Yep.
Why is it bad that you recognize a style?
Exactly.
Like it just because it is
because it's not what
it's not pop. It's
and
not.
here's the thing. When you listen to other Disney music like Alan Menken or stuff like that, you can recognize music signatures throughout different movies. You can say, oh, Alan Menken did this music, or Andrew Lloyd Webber did this music. Like you're able to, sorry, my theater kid just came out. But you can see
Sadly,
the musical signatures. You can hear the musical signatures, and what would that be different with Lin-Manuel, who does, you know, he has rap and Afro Latino sounds, and he wants to instill that into his musical signature. So I don't think it's a problem, as long as, like, for me, it was not putting in the like Colombian instruments, right? And he did that. He did his homework. He put in the music that was representative. That was the only thing that I was worried with, but he did it. So like, it's not, you know, like your music signature can be there as long as you give us a visual or an audio on map of where we are.
Right. No, and I mean, it truly like it truly shows that like he's an artist in his craft, because I mean, Lin-Manuel, as like not even just in Encanto, like just getting off of Encanto just for a second, in Moana, he did his research for that, and like the soundtrack for that, it sounds distinctly different than it does in Encanto, than it does in Hamilton, than it does in The Heights. And I mean, you can say the same for like or Vivo, and I mean, all those are different. Like they're similar movies, but they're all different. Even though Lin-Manuel Miranda is the music like supervisor for majority of those movies, you also have like you don't hear anybody complaining about Phil Collins, and he went hard on Tarzan
and Brother Bear.
And Brother Bear. Yeah.
Sorry.
And it was the same music.
It was, and it was beautiful, and we ate it up.
We ate it all up, and like
because he was a white man.
Right.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding with a trolley.
No, but like I said, like Lin literally, he put his foot into everything he does, and I'm excited to see what he does with Little Mermaid, and he's working with Alan Menken in that. And so
listen, I want a little like breakdown on Under the Sea. There is no rap breakdown in Under the Sea. It has to be in it. But anyhow, we actually then after that see her going into Bruno's room. What do you guys think about his room? It was pretty parkour.
I'm pretty certain. I'm pretty certain Bruno has thighs like a god, because that man had to walk up the stairs.
That's why he wanted to live in the walls. He's like, I'm not moving anywhere.
Not walking up the stairs no more. I'm not walking up the stairs no more. Nah.
Listen, some of my favorite TikToks are of people like voicing over Maribel when she's going up the steps, and they actually in one of them got her like somebody singing it. Of course, it's not Shakira, but they did Shakira She Wolf. And she has a she wolf in the closet, and then it goes into the next one. It's I got the number, and every single like scene, it's hilarious, y'all. But like, imagine him being six. Yeah, imagine him being 6 years old and having to go up those steps.
Well, you got the energy when you're 6 years old. You got that energy. You're like, oh snap.
Yeah, but still, all them stairs, like it's like you walking up the Eiffel Tower every day to go to bed.
Big facts.
Like,
so here's a question for you.
Hold up.
Here's a question for you.
Yes.
So she takes however long she takes to get to the tower, the actual tower, right? She gets in there, she sees the pieces, the tower starts collapsing. Was the tower going to collapse regardless of whether she went in there or not?
I don't think so. I think it's because she started interacting with the pieces.
because she got the vision.
Yeah, and she was like actually linking the vision up together. So every time you see her like put a piece together, that's when like you saw stands start falling, cracks were hidden in the wall.
So is the house waiting for her to find the vision?
I think that's what it was.
No, because the casita can't room, remember?
Oh, that's right. They can't enter. They can't go into that room.
Yeah, because he was
like, go into any room.
I can't touch it.
The vision to start. Like I think it starts with putting it together.
The vision being put together was initially that first domino of the house actually starting to break down.
Yeah.
Also, remember that room has not been inhabited and full of sand for the past 10 years. So it could have been that it would have caved in. But also remember, like, this buildings that stay, about to fall apart for so long, and the moment some kid goes in it and then they step on it, it starts crumbling because it's weak. So it could have been that. It could have been that her messing with it and moving things around, moved sand around, which ended up moving sand from the top. So then caused that effect. But yeah, no, I mean, that room hasn't been inhabited for 10 years or 9 years. So it's just one of those things where you can see the absence of Bruno, because otherwise, I mean, I don't think the room would have looked like that if Bruno was living in it. It would have not been covered with sand.
From a escapist point of view, if you really just needed to get away from your family, it's a dope room. Like you really wanted to get away from everything and anybody.
Yeah.
They don't want to walk up them stairs.
First I'm pretty sure they don't even know what's past that sand waterfall that, like, when you first enter the room, it's like you see that sand waterfall and like Bruno can just like walk through and be completely fine.
Oh no! Like everybody was eager to go in Antonio's room for the party afterward. Like everyone got to Bruno's room and they were very.
We'll stay down here. We'll stay out here.
But now, also remember this: the doors flicker and the lights go out when their powers are off. When there's no more powers. Why is Bruno's door not lit? He's still in the house.
He's not using his power.
Yeah, he hadn't been using his power. Because like he hadn't used.
Could have been that though. But it's like I don't think that, like, if Luisa wasn't lifting something and she just happened to be walking around, the door is not off though. So it's just one. I don't know.
I'm gonna Star Wars this.
I was gonna chalk it up to a plot hole.
I'm gonna Star Wars this and say that Bruno has cut himself off to the powers of the Force.
Probably
kind of deal, kind of like Luke had, and
or the house was in on
thing,
him being
like a mental thing.
Like a mental thing. Like,
it's probably like an actual like mental cutoff. I don't want to use it. It's almost like I'm gonna cut it up to like Spider-Man cut off in his mind. Like he had his like Spider-Man 2, like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Yeah, he had his crisis. He was like, I'm not gonna use my spider powers anymore, and that actually became like an issue for him. So
that's how I'm gonna apply.
We're gonna
We're gonna say that next.
Next.
But I mean, moving on.
That also leads us. I mean, we're talking about Bruno. Let's go ahead and get into the song about we don't talk about Bruno.
Man,
we don't talk about Bruno.
My favorite song in the whole thing. Hands down, my favorite.
I mean, you know how like artists release singles before they release the whole album. I feel like they should have released We Don't Talk About Bruno and Surface Pressure should have been the two releases before they did the whole album.
That's a fact. That's all. That's like
I know I keep calling Peppa messy, but let's talk about how messy Peppa is. Because he brought in a drop of a hat, she wanted to talk about what she was not supposed to talk about. She said, but it was my wedding day.
Exactly. Like she was like, we're not gonna talk about it. We're not gonna talk about it. Rain cloud over her and everything. All of a sudden, we don't talk about Bruno. No. It was my wedding. It was like, hold on.
She knew that her husband was about to talk about it, and she was like, "No,
this is my moment. It was my wedding day,
and we're gonna tell the story. It's my story."
I have a word for that, la tóxica.
One thing I did notice, thanks to TikTok, that I hadn't before was if you watch the song, Felix is dancing. Felix
got the moves.
During that whole song. It's also very dad moves though.
But like,
absolutely.
He's smooth with it. Yeah. He's smooth with it though.
He is smooth.
He's smooth
He's
with
got
it
rhythm. It's just
but
funny.
we also the barbecue. We also see the difference between him and Peppa and how they help each other out, I guess, or how
the opposites track all things.
Yeah, correct. Because even though it was a bad day or whatever, he always says, what on the song, we don't talk about what, but anyway. what was the word that he says?
Joyous day, but
What a joyous day. But anyway, we don't talk about Bruno. So like, he didn't care that it was raining. He didn't care because in a way he kind of thought this is not really his fault. This is, you know, like my wife is a little little moody.
I had a good time. I don't know about y'all, but yeah.
Correct. Like, yeah, sure. I dance in the rain. I don't care.
We go through that. We go through
his optimism. You can see his optimism in comparison to Peppa's pessimism. I guess would be the dichotomy there.
But I mean, that also leads to like the husbands that are like out from the outside looking in. The both husbands, like Felix
They're
and
so great.
Fully supporting
Agustin,
Augustine, the whole time, bro. Like holding her down, like making sure that she's not feeling the pressure because they see themselves in her.
Yeah. But like that, I mean, Felix, I mean, all of them, they love their kids. They love their kids more than they love Abuela. And I mean, even though like we're part of this family now, I'm like, I'm gonna take care of my kids first before anything. I don't care about your rules or nothing, Abuela. We ain't gonna be doing that.
That's my daughter.
Yeah. Nah, but
I love Agustin. Oh gosh.
I mean, going back
Agustin.
Going back to we don't talk about Bruno. I mean, if y'all have noticed, I mean, and I've watched it multiple times and I've seen it on TikTok during Dolores' verse. If you look in the background, you can see, I don't know if it's Camilo being Bruno or if it's actually Bruno in the background. He's actually dancing and like going through the background with it.
Yes. So like that's one thing that people have been
talking
because
he's about. Like you see him like in the upper right hand corner toward the end, and he's like,
Now that's a thing, and the reason why people are saying it might be Bruno is because in all the promotionals, when you see the Family Madrigal and all the posters, you can find him. He's actually
like,
where's Bruno?
Hiding in places. That's a good idea, you know, that he's coming out or whatever and like sneaking in and sneaking out. Or it could be Camilo that's kind of add to it, and he comes out with
this whole
I think
but
it to that idea that, you know, he still loves his family, right? Like he's still there to like support his family.
Yeah.
And
but also remember that all of these like all of this music scenes are almost like dreamy, right? So like, you know, there is really not a Titanic on her muscles. There's really not on all the songs. There all these different things. I think the only that's like a kind of realistic is going to be Isabella's song, which we'll talk about in a minute. But a lot of these songs are more mystical and they're based on like rumors about him. So it's just one of those things where it could have just been creatively something that the storyboarders put in there.
Fair.
But I mean, it could really be anything because it could have been him still kind of, they're singing about me, but that's a little risky. They're singing about me and I'm going to show up and I'm going to like sneak around.
Imagining him like, you know, just
like I said, it could be Camilo right before, because it was right before
Camilo because he could be coming around to grab Maribel.
It was like 7 foot frame. Yeah.
Correct.
And I mean, like even that whole part that's become TikTok famous. I mean, you got Camilo literally going back and forth between himself and Bruno's figure. We think he's 7 foot tall. He's actually like 5'8".
And I think we talked about it. I think it's the fear that Peppa put into her kids.
Yep.
And you see the way that the two sisters treat his brother. You see Julieta is more compassionate, so if she's not supposed to talk about something, she won't.
Generational trauma.
But Peppa is more of like, he actually attacked me in quotation marks, right? He actually came for me. So it's one of those things where you always have that dynamic between brothers and sisters, even in our lives, is that if you do something to me, I love you, but I'm gonna
hold that grudge.
Yeah, correct.
But also but the whole song, I mean, you can see the whole song is from the point of view of Peppa's side of the family, but majority of it, with the exception of Isabella and her, like, he told me
because her vision was perfect.
Of course.
Oh, what are you talking about?
But like,
you didn't have anything bad.
Yeah, but I mean, that kind of ties into going back to the musical theater roots that everyone has in this room, and it's a great first end of act song.
Act 1.
Yeah, and I mean, even like the medley at the end where everyone's singing at the same time and like them setting up the table. It's shot. Shot like a musical. Like it's just going down the camera line.
Staging.
It's
like you can literally see you can imagine it on Broadway. The table coming in, they're putting the plates, people dancing, and Maribel
put this on Broadway. They better.
If they don't put it on Broadway, they're dumb. I think they are. I think that's the next step.
That's why you have Lin. Like, why else would it be
correct
a Lin-Manuel Miranda movie?
Yeah.
if it wasn't going to turn into a man.
And a show, and in a show or a Broadway show, you'd be able to expand this characters a little bit more. Give Camilo a song, give Dolores a song.
I was gonna say, I want to hear a Camilo song. Like
that would be amazing. I mean, it doesn't even have to be long. Like, it could just be a short song.
I just want to see, I want to see how they would do him shape-shifting on stage.
Okay, so let me tell you how. Not necessarily that I know how they're gonna do it, but this is a good approach. There was a horrible musical that was produced during the pandemic called Diana. It was about Princess Diana. It was not that great when it came to how they developed the storyline, which I mean, I'm like, it was a real life story, so I don't know why you have a storyline that's different. And anyhow, we won't get into that, but they did her costume changes like this.
Oh, I've seen the clip of that.
We're talking about a rack of clothes literally rolled. It never stopped. It rolled. It's the scene where they're putting her wedding dress on. And they're rolling. The rack just rolls in front of Diana and she's in a completely different outfit. And then two people walk in front of her. And now she's in the wedding gown. It was so quick and people had no idea how it happened. So if they do a Encanto movie, that's how they need to do the shape-shifting with Camilo.
Yeah, very possible. Yeah,
the Cinderella changing dress.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, no, I know it's possible.
Ways.
I mean,
or even the Frozen dress. Have you seen this video?
Right,
oh my gosh,
yes. They pull it off of
yeah.
That girl has no luck. I don't know what her name is, but every time let it go, she just completely tangle in everything.
That's how it is in the junior versions.
But definitely, it has to be a Broadway show. They have to. They have to be.
But I mean, but moving on. I mean, we will see it on Broadway. We're manifesting that right now. It's going to be on Broadway.
Into the universe.
I like the manifestation.
Yeah. But moving on. I mean, past that point, we finally talked about Bruno, even though nobody wanted to talk about it. We're finally seeing the house finally get to break down after the whole proposal, and we got the whole proposal with Isabella and Mariano, and that kind of failed miserably. We finally see the vision in front of the whole family, and the whole we talked about it last week with Augustine and Maribel trying to hide it, and Miércoles and trying to hide it from Dolores.
Miércoles. I actually believe that Abuela had not seen the tablet. That's just my opinion. I don't think that anybody saw the tablet. I think that when she asked Bruno to do the vision, he did the vision. He saw the vision. It was changing, so therefore he couldn't give her an answer. And he knew that whatever answer he would give, it would be a problem. So he broke it in his own room and disappeared. Yeah. Because Abuela's face when she sees that tablet that apparently those very small raccoons put together, right? Her face, you know what I mean? It's not just
shook. She was
it was shook.
Shocked. She did not.
Oh my God!
I don't think she was prepared. She found the person that she was going to blame. I know that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Immediately, validation.
Yep.
Right here in this moment.
But I mean, that also leads us into Maribel going into the walls and finding Bruno for the first time, and
knock, 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 knock.
Yep. Yep. And Bruno was giving off hella millennial vibes as well. Just we got Hernando, but we also have Bruno. He was a parkour genius. Apparently, he's been practicing parkour, trying to run through them walls throughout his whole life.
Bro.
Strong legs for all those steps.
You can't play tag with Bruno, bro. He be dipping and diving.
It's them calves. It's them calves.
Yeah.
It's the leg power.
Yeah, Autumn stair steps and trained him for parkour. That's what that was.
And we see his real talent and his real gift. He's
actor.
He's an actor.
He is an actor.
I am from London. I am afraid of nothing.
He showed didn't fear nothing when he put his head headlong through the wall.
Bro, through the wall when the house was collapsing.
That bucket is strong. I need 7 of those buckets in my house. So you see him, you see his struggle, you see that he's still connected with the family in a way. He still sees them, which is pretty sad.
He got his own
right
plate.
There by the dinner table. He can look at him eat all the time. You know that when they were having the fight and the abuela find out about the vision, you know he was right there on that crack going,
oh yeah, he was looking.
Oh my God. Making his telenovelas with the mice. I think it's a sad look at seeing what trauma can do, but you see him kind of go through the emotions. But then somehow here comes Antonio, who have talked to all the rats, And, and it's like, I help you. The rats told me everything.
It just comes in. Well, I mean, it's just like it speaks to that theme again of relying on the next generation to help you, right? Like
yes.
it so subtly does.
What for the thing? Because Antonio definitely doesn't have any judgment about anybody. Because one, he's a 5-year-old innocent boy, but he also is just like, I trust these animals more than I trust my family because that's all I know. And Maribel is literally the closest person I have in this whole family because I've been hanging out with her since I was born. So these are the only people I trust right now. And you're talking to Maribel, so I trust you.
Correct. If Maribel's talking to the weird man in my walls, sure, I will help. Sure. I will give you a help.
I have no idea who you are, but I will help you, sir.
That's a fact. That's a hard fact.
Yeah. And I actually don't think he knew that was Bruno. No. I think that at the end when he says, "Oh, so that's Bruno," I think that's actually not him being. A lot of people are like, "Oh, he was just playing it cool," but I actually think that he had no idea that was Bruno. He just thought this was like on TikTok. Somebody said the wizard that lived in his walls.
No, but definitely because I mean, I'm pretty certain the rats don't know Bruno's name. Like they just know. Hey, there's this weird man in the wall that like hangs out with us, and we just want you to like come through and like, hey, you want to talk to him because your cousin is in here with him. Like,
can you get him out of our walls?
He had known that there was a man in his walls and that was okay for him to be there.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, we can talk now because I see you talking to.
I see you talking to the toucan. So, I mean, if you can talk to the toucan, I'm going to talk to you. Hey, fam, your cousin is in here with a strange dude. We know him because we be acting with him, but like, that's about it.
We hang out with him sometimes.
The rats are like, we need our space. The rats are like, we need our space. Please get him out of here. Whatever it takes.
Here? Can I come hang out here?
He's been here for about 10 years.
Just brushing myself in front of him. This is embarrassing. Bathing myself.
I just want my wall back. That's all. Like he didn't came here and made it his space. I mean, I just want my wall with my family. That's it. Like if you want to take it back. We only got about 5 minutes left again because we like to talk, all three of us.
Well, speed round. You find the vision. You realize that the vision was longer. You realize that that's the way the things are. There's a butterfly that means hope. She sees it. She goes and has to hug her sister. And to me, the vision of Maribel, of Isabella, was actually fulfilled at that moment because in the song she says he told me that the love he told me that my power would grow and I'd be fruitful like the grape on the vine or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. But literally until that point she could only do flowers, or she was only allowed to do flowers. So if you think of a vine doesn't have any flowers. A vine is going to have fruits in it. So she was given that vision of you will be doing more than what you think you're going to be doing. And I think that moment when she bonded with her sister, that's when the vision was fulfilled. Again, these visions are not a what can be and like you can change it. This is more of like, here's your future. How are you going to deal with it? And how are you going to cope with or how are you going to prepare for it? Right. And so yeah. And then you see Abuela bringing back that stick and like just being so strong-willed with her kids. You see Isabella is like recoiling. She's like,
no, I saw that. And like
she was having fun, and then all of a sudden, Abuela says one thing.
She was free.
Yeah,
she was free.
She was like, I mean, she even joked with Maribel, and it was just like, "You're such a bad influence." It was like, yes, but for good intentions. Like, you look how happy you are.
And if you notice, that room was full of flowers of like blue and different flowers. The moment Abuela said something,
gone.
There was no more flowers on the floor. There might have been like a little bit where they were standing, but like no more like quilt of flowers. Like she recoiled immediately,
literally.
And that's when Maribel says, "You are the problem. We'll never be good enough for you." And this is when the generational curse stops.
You don't let me be me.
I don't.
You don't let me.
I can't be 100% authentic. Yeah,
exactly.
Correct.
And then we see what happens is the house.
Now we finally see the house break down and
literally is
break down.
Like
that's it honestly showed like Maribel being the house. Like her emotional breakdown towards Abuela was the physical breakdown of Casita, and we lose the candle. We're all crying.
There is no more candle. There is no more candle. So the magic did not come from the candle. I keep saying that, and I will say it forever. The magic, I know it sounds cheesy, the magic comes from them, from who they are, who they're going to be, and who they're going to grow to be. Because at the end, who has the power? Maribel. She opens the door and the casita comes back. Let's talk about how Maribel is a 14-year-old architect. Yeah,
I
We'll
think
leave
it's
that
that
for
she just
Facebook
knew the
posts.
house so well. Like
Whatever.
she knew all the intricate.
Whatever. Give me the recipe to a good cement
in
mix.
her hand.
She got the blueprint.
Yeah, no, it was cut. It was a cut. The blueprints were from that cut. That's what that was.
She didn't get Spider-Man
It was
powers.
imprinted.
She got
It was
architectural powers.
I want to sit down with Maribel and I want her to tell me the ratio of cement to water that you need to do the foundation. Oh, look at this home. I like the new foundation, bitch. The house is gonna fall apart in 2 days.
She didn't have to build all the extra rooms.
The bricks that had like the tiles that had the butterfly like cut out of them that they were laying in there at the end.
Yeah. And you don't have the strength of Luisa, and somehow all these people now they're all like, "Oh,
How they all strong?
We know what to do. We know how to do
Right.
it. We're plumbers.
We can actually do the work for ourselves now.
You mean you could have been doing this the whole time? My
And
18 years of life.
That might be it. It might be that they allowed the town to show their talents, and there were some builders in the group. So that might be it. That might be it. But then we see how Casita greets her. We finally see her face on the door, and then somehow this amazing music by Carlos Vives starts again. That accordion that I love so much.
Yeah.
Column the quiero tanto. Wah, 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 wah. And so it sounded like Scuttle, my bad. Wah, wah, wah. But no, it's just to see the fact that Abuela could come to the terms of saying, you know what, I am wrong, which it doesn't happen in Latin American culture. I am wrong and I am sorry. This home is not perfect, but neither are we. And so like all these little things are just so important for breaking a generational curse.
Mm-hmm.
And we see how the new generation should be working together with the old generation to be able to break those traumas and those bonds of what tradition, right? What they say tradition.
Yeah, and that's what I really hope that parents and children get out of this movie, because I think that like for sure when two different audiences view this film, and when I say two different audiences, I'm thinking when parents bring their kids to go watch this film, it really is that it creates that opportunity for growth and learning and understanding,
Conversation.
That like that they don't have to have all the answers, right? Like and you can learn from your children and grow with your children, so that one, you can grow your family, because I think that's like what Abuela's goal is, like from the beginning. Is like, yes, she's trying to save her family, make sure that it continues when she's gone, and she finally learned that she can rely on Maribel to do that, but not without.
But there's more than one way to. I don't like the traditional saying. More than one way to skin a cat. I like to say there's more than one way to build a bench. So it's one of those things where you can actually see that, you wanted to save the family, you wanted to protect the family, but your way is not necessarily the way that it needs to be done. And so again, she's gonna pass. I'm not trying to be morbid, but she's gonna pass away. She's not eternal. So she's gonna end up passing away, and Maribel is the one who's gonna have to take the reins with her new way of leading this family. And hopefully we'll see that in that Disney Plus show that they're teasing, that they're going to give us of Encanto. We'll see that leadership arise from Maribel.
You might even see that in the Broadway production, because like they're going to have to fill some time. I mean, it's an hour and a half movie.
Like I said,
you want them to kill Abuela on the Broadway show, child?
No!
I mean, Lynn already did it within the Heights, so I mean, he won't be.
They're going to kill the Abuela before the intermission.
We go through the whole movie before intermission, and then we get to.
We got to learn to live under
another visual for another Abuela.
That's called a sequel.
Around the side of the show.
Yeah, but we can definitely go on and on. What we're gonna do now is take a quick.
We did it.
We talked about Bruno. I'm proud of us. But what we're gonna do now is take a quick break. You're gonna hear a word from my sponsor, Anchor, and then we'll be right back with the weekly blurb. Be right back, guys.
Hey guys, it's Jeremy here to talk to you about Anchor, the free podcast tool that you all need. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, like I said, it's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer or your phone. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. and it's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So guys, go ahead and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm on your computer to get started.
It's time for the Weekly Blerd!
And we are back.
And we're back.
Not with that doo-doo-doo, but okay.
We've got sounds now.
Yeah.
I still forever want, like, I wish we had like the soundboard here,
We'll get there.
because that would be fun.
We're getting there.
I just need that to like get my head like in the frame of
There
mind.
is an app. There is an app that you can download different sounds and memes and like, you know, like the bing bong, and then you can actually have it on your iPad and you can just click it.
I need that.
Well, you have an iPad.
I'm gonna do it.
I also have an iPad.
Yeah,
I
there's
would
an
love.
app.
That'd just be fun for me.
Good job.
Did you just spill your Pepsi?
Party foul. Party foul in the studio.
Not sponsored. Not sponsored. Your soda. Sorry.
My soda. Oh wow, this is this is not a rag.
Him a pair of shorts.
So I love the fact that we're talking about how we'll get there and we'll have a soundboard, and you just handed him some gym shorts to dry
There's a
the
rag.
split of soda.
Or the fact that if there was a soundboard there, he would have just spilled.
I just want to say that this is the most.
All of the above.
This is the
There would
most
never be a
cis
soundboard there,
straight
Liza.
male thing that has ever happened. Like, oh, you should.
No, I've cleaned things
Where's
with-
the nearest nearest cloth?
I don't think that's. I've done that before. I've done that with socks. Like, oh, I
All
steal
right.
something and I just take
Maybe
the
it's just
sock
an-
off and I clean it. I'm not very much a what is that? A tidy gay.
We'll just say it's a man thing to use like the nearest cloth thing to clean something.
There's felt product.
I mean, I know some women who would do that too. So
All right, fair enough.
You're like, all right, well, you win. I guess it's just a personality trait.
It's just people, just people. Damn it.
Okay.
yeah, people.
We're just dirty.
You know what?
We
I know
dirty.
I'm an alien.
Yes, sure. Yeah, we are aliens. Sure. All right.
But the Weekly Blerd.
But y'all know what time it is. It's
We'll
time
get
for
there.
the Weekly Blurb, where we go ahead and tell y'all some fun facts or some new information that
The
may.
middle segment of our show.
Exactly.
And who's going to start off this week?
I guess I'll go first. I went first last week.
I'll go first, guys. I'll go first. You know what? I'm part of this family now. I live in your walls, just like Bruno. So here we go.
Here we go.
Knock, knock, knock. Knock on wood. So, let's see. So, before I plug my own stuff in, I finally watch Eternals. So go watch Eternals. It's great. I know that's kind of behind or whatever. I think we can plug anything, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
We can plug anything we like?
We
Okay.
love Eternals.
Both of you were looking at me like I was just who's like, what is he doing? So Eternals, I think is going to be a great introduction to the Fantastic Four, and watch it with that in mind. So watch it in mind that Galactus might be somebody who might be sent to judge later on. Think of, like now there is some connection between the Asgardians and the Celestials. So think about all that when you're watching it, and it'll be a much better movie to watch. And then the other thing that I would like to plug in is my podcast is starting in February. It's called Look Who's Stuck In with Sharon Cocx. We're going to be talking about being in the middle, being from different intersections in life. And I'm going to have different guests, and we're going to be talking about the struggles of, people who meet different lifestyles and who meet different cultures and, interracial couples, being dual, what's the word? Dual race, I guess. I don't know what the word is.
Biracial.
Biracial. Why did I say dual race? Biracial is such an easy word.
It works. I'm not offended. You're good.
But yeah, so like, and then like I talked about last week was me being both Colombian and Venezuelan and being grown up in a Christian home, but I also don't do Christian things anymore. I'm a drag queen and I'm gay, but I was raised to be straight and all this kind of stuff. So the podcast will talk about all these different things. So you can tune in. It's going to be every Monday on starting in February, and I'm going to have some special guests from RuPaul's Drag Race, some special guests, local special guests, psychologists. I'm just trying to open the repertoire And you can find it anywhere you can listen to your podcast, especially on Anchor and Spotify and Apple Music. Look who's stuck in.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Who's talking?
Excellent.
With Sharon Cocx.
I will be listening. Add that to my list of podcasts to be listening to in the future. And
I'm just thankful I'll have a podcast to replace lip work while I work.
there we go.
I'm just always happy to support.
Right. Like not like we got rap and Blerd Spot got over here. But
Well, I listen to that every week regardless. Sometimes I like to listen, for
I respect that.
anyway.
it's fine.
All right, go Miriam. You go.
Oh, me.
popcorn.
I forgot I was supposed to.
popcorn.
I love the popcorn.
I suppose last time we did popcorn, so I realized I didn't give it to anybody else. So Miriam, it's your turn.
There you go.
Okay, I'll go. Apologies for my sound last week. You should be able to hear me on the mic now. I'm gonna take the fall for that. I think I unplugged my mic at some point last week, and that's why it stopped working. Anyway, my blurb this week is go to YouTube and check out Jack Harlow's interview with
Nardwuar.
Thank you. I always say
Narwhal.
Narwhal. I was like, when you said I was like, did he buy
Like the
narwhal?
mythological animal? Is that mythological?
Is that
real?
legal?
Narwhal.
Is it
Narwhal.
alive? The narwhal is real.
Oh, which one is the one that's mythological? No, none of them. Just they're real. I'm stupid. Okay, bye. I'm muting my microphone. Bye.
they're the sea unicorns.
I understand why you thought that they were mythological. They sound mythological.
They have a horn and they're water animals. Okay, continue, Miriam.
It's
Sorry.
freaky and it's a pretty horn too.
No, it's a really good interview. It's very personal. It touches really heavily on Louisville, Kentucky, and he brings homage to a lot of artists from New Orleans, from Louisiana,
Louisville, Kentucky.
God, it is Sunday.
all the places.
And it's good to see as a fan the humble behavior that is Jack Harlow, and
I love his interviews.
This was something he had been wanting to do forever since he was a kid, and so to finally see him do it, it's really nice. So as a fan or somebody who isn't familiar with Jack Harlow at all, it's a really good introduction interview to him as an artist, because I really appreciate him. I'm wearing my creme de la creme sweatshirt as we speak, so check out.
So does he interview a narwhal? I'm still confused about the whole narwhal thing.
Nardwuar is an interviewer.
Narwhal.
Yeah, he interviews different rappers and musical talents, and he does hella research on each guest, and he will ask you questions like, "Hey, do you remember your second grade teacher?" Or he'll say a name, and the person be their second grade teacher that they haven't even thought of in years. It's how do you know that?
Nice.
He'll find stories from these people too, and do you remember the time that you left left a chicken finger in your friend's backpack as a prank, and it'll just throw them off.
It'll throw out the guest because it's wait, no, I did that when I was 8. How do you know that?
How do you know that? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Dude's talented. Dude's very talented.
He
at what he does.
He's a great reporter.
He's been doing it for so long.
Yeah, it was he does his research very well, and it's it's amazing. His interviews are
it's also a really pivotal point for an artist to get a Nardwuar interview anyway.
Yeah,
It established this as a pretty big, in my opinion, an up and coming or already a big star as it is.
Yeah. It's 20 minutes. It's a good watch. That's all. Popcorn Jeremy.
Oh. Ooh. Right. All right.
Pop.
Pop. All right, but
Pop.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Come on, Jerry. Do your story. You better. Now, Papa is listening.
Is Winnie the Pooh still
yes, it's still
No, so I'm gonna let him tell your story, and then I'm gonna tell you why and how we're probably gonna get in trouble. Continue with your story. I'll tell you about Winnie the Pooh later.
Okay, so I guess my weekly blurb is just a little continuance of the conversation of Encanto, and going to go on IMDb and pull up some fun facts, a little trivia from the movie and what happened behind the scenes of the movie. So just name off a couple of those, and we can talk about them for a good 2 minutes. I guess the first one, which I found really intriguing, according to the character designer Dylan Ekron, the artist had to fight for Louisa to be buff. They didn't want her to be buff at all. Yeah.
They didn't want her to be big.
They didn't want her to be, they didn't want her to be strong. Yeah. I mean, they wanted her to be strong. They didn't want her to be physically fit. Yeah, they wanted to still keep that like Disney princess look on her as well as, but it would have not. It would have not worked at all.
It was, I can't imagine that working well for her character. I mean, like the voice of the character as well as with like the character,
and also the representation that femininity is not one type. You know what I mean?
Right. And like she's like, I drip, but I know I glow. Like, what's up? How are you gonna have like a song about someone that knows they glow when it's like stereotypical glow? You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah, but next one. Most of the Latin voices are from Colombian-born or Colombian descent actors. So
beautiful.
We keep it in the
maybe they'll. I wonder if anybody from the movie will be in the Broadway production.
I hope.
Well, a lot of the characters who play kids are older actors because it's voiceover. So I don't think that would work.
Right.
Sorry to burst your bubble, sir.
I was thinking I'm really mostly thinking for Maribel.
No, because she's voiced by.
No, Maribel is the girl from
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
But how old is Maribel? Like
14.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're all.
Isabella
for
is
some
like.
reason, I was thinking she might have been 18. Like you know.
No, that was Isabella's 18.
They could cast that entire musical from TikTok.
No, Isabella's 21. Luisa is 18. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mainly just because I say that because there are so many people.
All the people on TikTok who are like
right,
yeah.
and are talented too.
Great cosplay.
Let's see. Let me do two more. Bruno was originally going to be named Oscar, but his name was changed to better fit the song lyrics. We don't talk about Bruno. No.
We don't talk about Oscar. Oh yeah, no, that would have not worked out.
You know, Oscar. He looks like an Oscar. I'd say he looks like an Oscar, but Bruno.
Headcanon, Oscar is his middle name. We gonna put it there.
I give you a little bit more trivia that you didn't know about before. My grandfather's name was Bruno.
Hey.
Oh.
Yeah, his name actually was Bruno Emilio Torres, which sounds like he was part of the mafia. But Bruno Emilio Torres, and he never went by Bruno. He hated that name. So he went by Emilio Torres, and that's my middle name. My middle name is Emilio. So yeah,
Emilio.
His name was Bruno. What did you say? Emilio Estevez. Ooh, no. I just thought of Charlie Sheen. Continue. I'm sorry. Keep going.
We'll do two more. Let's see. This movie, Encanto and Raya and the Last Dragon, marks the first time in Disney history that two human female protagonists from two different Disney animated canon films have first appeared within the same year. So basically, two Disney movies that came out in the same year, female protagonists.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
First time
and POC.
Yeah,
and yeah.
The Raya being Southeast Asian and Colombian.
You know, it's interesting because of like because of Disney Plus and how like the movies are airing. I definitely forget that Encanto was a movie.
Time is not a construct.
Right. I forget that Encanto wasn't that part, but Raya was a Disney Plus release. It wasn't a theater. It didn't do a theatrical release.
That was when we were still like high into the.
It was at the beginning of the year.
But I forget that Encanto was a theatrical release and not just a Disney Plus release.
Yeah. And last one, a little movie trivia. And this song, Surface Pressure, when Luisa sings about the ship that doesn't swerve, the donkeys are playing violins in the background, spoofing the scene from Titanic.
Yep.
Those donkeys were.
They have a fan base now, guys.
I told Mary that I want to do a couple's costume where she's Luisa and I'm a donkey.
The burros have now a TikTok like fan base where they edit the videos of just the burros, just the donkeys dancing and doing the whole.
Yeah, do the choreography. They do that.
They groove, bro. They groove.
Those are some of the smoothest.
It's the
donkeys.
It's the shoulders.
It's the shoulders and like the
body roll.
It's their personality. The fact that when she broke that rock, they just take a step back, and Maribel is like, "No, don't leave me." And the donkeys are like, "We know her."
Just carried us from like across the way.
We're not gonna mess with her.
Yeah, but,
Louisa, the donkeys got out again.
But yeah, that's some fun facts. If you want to look up some more fun facts, check it out on IMDb, or we can share some more on our pages. And I guess I'll automatically popcorn it to Jay because he's the last one.
Happy to round us out, and I've got a fun thing to share. There's some new content coming our way. I don't think it'll be released. I couldn't find a release date, but it's in the works. Two of my favorite groups of people are working together to make a movie. It's Kendrick Lamar and the creators of South Park, Trey Parker and Matt Stone. This movie I think is going to be one of, honestly, the more important films of our generation, and I mean that because of like the comedic nature of it and like what it's going to call attention to. It's the first movie that hasn't been a South Park movie that Trey Parker and Matt Stone have done since Team America, which is a horrendous.
So it's not going to be South Park style.
No, it's a live action. It's going to be.
I was like, how is that even going to work?
There's no title for the film yet, but it's going to be about a young man who is a black man and he's dating a white girl, and he works in a live reenactment museum, like his history museum, where he plays a slave. Cringe. And he finds out that his girlfriend's family's ancestors used to own his ancestors.
Escándalo.
Yeah.
And like, dude, like this is like, I mean, I'm a biracial man, so this is kind of something that like I think about as like, oh well, maybe my ancestors owned another part of my ancestors, and I think it's like it's a whole commentary that's like not often talked about, but like kind of joked about in certain circles. Like we've definitely thought about this idea like once or twice between interracial relationships. Like you think about this, like they're pretty freaking prevalent.
Have you seen, this is just a problematic photo shoot, but I kind of made it around. It was a white girl and a black man getting married, and their engagement photos,
I bet they were
of her being his owner.
Oh,
Yep. I've seen those.
No,
Yes.
no, I have not. That man don't love himself. What?
Disgusting. Like,
I mean,
those are their engagement photos.
I mean, like it's like when we were kids, like going to the cotton field for a freaking
elementary school,
like for a field trip, and like
I'll keep my.
I mean, like
this got this fine.
Exactly. I think it's gonna be one of those movies that. I mean, you got Kendrick Lamar and like his production team on it. You got Trey Parker and Matt Stone. They're hilarious. Like
they know how to push.
They know how to spin something like this, and I think that this story is going to be very entertaining. I think it's going to spark a lot of controversy, which I'm really looking forward to because I think good comedy does that. And exactly, very funny, and I'm looking forward to it. So be on the lookout for this film. There is no name for it as far as I could find.
Yeah. Usually when they announce stuff like that, it's going to probably be about 2-3 years before we actually see something.
True. So, but it's a fun thing to be on.
2020.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun thing to come into your Black Mirrors.
Pictures this.
Oh God. He's in chains.
Oh, you found him? Yeah, he's in chains, and she's in like an antebellum dress, like a white. Well,
listeners and viewers who are going to watch this podcast, we are not going to show you, and you got to look it up on your own.
No.
We don't support that.
It's called a cottagecore engagement photo shoot.
Go to Google and look up cottagecore. Don't ask interracial. Don't forget that part. But yeah, but other than that, we appreciate everybody for listening to the podcast. We appreciate you guys for Sharon. We appreciate you for coming back on with us.
Always.
We love you.
Listen, I talk too much, and I know that. I run the time. I know that.
This
but if you want to have me back, I would love to be back. We don't have to talk about Encanto. I enjoy it. Thank you so much, guys. Seriously, this time with you guys, it's a lot of fun, and especially this past week that I had. This is the highlight of my week. You guys have made me laugh and made me forget about my illness. So yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, we hope that you are, I know you're on the road to getting better, but we hope that everything is good within the next 24 to 48 hours. However
I hope so too. Thank you.
But we appreciate the listeners and viewers for listening to our podcast. Sharon, where can the people find you?
They can find me on social media everywhere. No, that's not the script for that. That's the one for the podcast. You can find me everywhere under Sharon Cocx. That is SharonCocx. COCX. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube under that name.
Yeah, and guys, make sure you look forward to it. Comes out in February. Look Who's Tucking with Sharon Cocx. And Jay, where can the people find us?
You can be friends with us on Facebook at Blerd Survival Guide. You can add us on Instagram at Blerd Survival Guide, at TikTok and Twitter at Blerd Guide, or you can find us at our personals. Mine is at JDub0283.
I'm at JaredBear3295. Remember, you can shop with us on Redbubble. You can get this fabulous shirt that I'm wearing, plus all the other merch that we got with hats and
posters and
yeah, we had our
stickers and
stickers and yeah, and definitely you'll see
magnets.
Yeah, magnets, all that jazz. And also on YouTube, you can hear all of our podcasts and you can see the stuff on here as well. And other than that,
keep surviving, everybody.
Let's do the theme song.
Step into the spotlight, survival is troopers. Come and take a seat with the combo we provide. Every Tuesday, it's the Blerd Survival Guide. 2 guys, 2 mics, our producers. Step into the spotlight, survival is troopers. Come and take a seat with the combo we provide. Every Tuesday, it's the Blerd Survival Guide.